Hi, it's Bimerzen, and in this video I'm going to be replacing front brakes on my Z4 E89 35IS BMW. So I got this car a while ago, and after a while I got a notice that the front pads need to be replaced. So I went ahead and ordered all the parts, and here I am now replacing the discs. So I already replaced that one, so this is the right side on my car, and now I'm going to replace the left side, which has the wear sensor that needs to be replaced. So if you have a similar car and you're interested, great, come along and we'll do this. Okay, so obviously you'll have to raise the car up. Now I have my lift here and the car is already lifted and the lug nuts are already released. Now a few words on the discs themselves. So this particular model, this is the 35i and 35IS. They have a special floating discs, which means that they are two-part construction. So the inner part is made out of aluminum and the outer part is out of steel, and it is joined with these pins. So that means that there's less heat transfer between the materials, and it also kind of floats around, and it is very stable under heavy braking. So these discs are a bit more expensive. You can use the regular discs if you want to, but on this car that has so much performance, it's really good idea to get the proper discs and also not skimp on the part itself, so don't get cheap discs, it's not worth it. The minimum rotor thickness for this model is 28.4 millimeters. So I use the caliper to measure the distance between both sides, and it comes out to 28.6, 28.8, something like that. So they can still be used, but I decided to just replace them. But I could probably get away with another set of brake pads on these rotors here. So as you can see, I've chosen the ATA brand, which is an OEM manufacturer of brakes for BMWs, but any good quality brand should be fine. So in the kit you get discs, some notes, and of course new screws for locating the discs on the hub. And then if your wear sensor is already worn out, so you get a dash light, you will also need to replace the sensor. And of course you're also going to need new pads. I also went with the same company, so ATA, and I think this should be a good combination. I'm going to put all the parts number down in the description so you can find them on the internet. Okay, let's do this. Okay, we can now rotate the wheel to get to the caliper. This will give us a bit more space. Now we have to remove this clip. We just have to pry it away from the caliper itself, and it should release. I'm going to use this screwdriver and insert it here through the disc, and this will prevent the discs from spinning when I try to loosen this bolt. I'm not going to remove it all the way, I'm just gonna loosen it so it's easier to remove it later. Now I can remove the sensor. This one is no good, so I can just pull it out. Doesn't matter if it breaks. Now I'm going to spread out the pads using a screwdriver. So I'm just gonna pry gently on the pad, and this way we gain some space so we can remove the caliper. Now we have to remove the cover for the caliper bolts. There's another one at the bottom. Now we need to remove those bolts. Now you can remove the caliper and suspend it using a piece of coat hanger. Now you can remove the pads. Now I'm going to clean the surfaces on the caliper, so here and here, and I'm also going to clean the surface of the piston. Now we can remove the two bolts for the caliper bracket. And now we can finally remove the disc. Now we have to clean the surface and make sure that there's no rust or debris here. Otherwise the disc will not run straight and that will result in premature failure of discs. You can use a wire wheel to clean up the surface. I don't have it, so I'm gonna use this sanding pad and make sure that everything is nice and smooth. Okay, the wheel hub is now nice and clean, free of any rust. Now we also have to clean the surfaces on the caliper bracket, so we have to clean this up. Try not to be too abrasive, just use a toothbrush or something like that to clean off the debris, rust and dirt. Okay, now we can put on the new disc. Now I'm going to put a light coat of grease on the caliper. This is just to protect it from corrosion a little bit. As you can see, there's no excess grease anywhere, so it doesn't contact the disc or the brake pad. And now we can reinstall it back. And then we have to torque it to 110 Newton meters, but that will depend on the model of your car. So for 35 IS, this is the correct spec. Now I'm going to use this C-clamp to press in the piston so we can get the new pads in. Otherwise, it's gonna be too narrow. Okay, so this is as far as it goes. And I just realized I made a very stupid mistake. So when I was compressing the calipers to get the piston in, I forgot that I just did a brake fluid replacement, which means that when I was compressing the piston, there was too much fluid in the reservoir and it started overflowing and it went all over the engine bay. So if we take a look here, you can see that there's plenty of brake fluid here. You have to be very careful if you have bad brakes and the pads need to be replaced and you just did the brake fluid service, then it's gonna be too much fluid in the reservoir because you usually top it up to the max level. So when you compress the piston, there's too much fluid and it comes out. And if you'll excuse me, I'll go and clean up that mess. I've put a light coat of grease on the surfaces where the pad meets the caliper, and I've also applied a thin layer of grease here. Make sure that you don't put the grease on the gasket because it could make it swell and then it deteriorates. So just a light coat should be fine. Now I'm going to install the inner brake pad and I applied a little bit of grease on the surfaces. Make sure you don't contaminate the pad with grease. I also applied a little bit of grease on the outer pad and now I'm going to install it. And now we can reinstall the caliper. And then we secure it with the pins, which I've also cleaned, and these don't have to be greased, according to the BMW manual. The pins need to be torqued down to 30 Newton meters. Don't forget to reinstall the caps for the pins. And finally, we have to put back this clip. So just put the ends in. And then use a flat screwdriver to pry it into position. Okay, we're done with the easy part, but now we have to connect this sensor, and this sensor is routed all the way up into the engine bay. And if we follow the wires, we can see that there are 3 wires going here underneath this strut reinforcement. and there is a bracket that connects 3 connectors to the ECU box, and it is located right underneath. So it's really hard to show you this, but it's right there. So probably the easiest way to do this is to just remove the bracket that holds the 3 connectors. So I'm going to use long pliers, and I'm going to remove the bracket. So I'm going to squeeze the tabs, and that should enable me to push down. Okay, so the first one is released. Now let's go to the second. Okay, it's released. And now I have to go underneath, and here you can see this bracket. Now I have to use both hands to reach underneath. So here are the 3 connectors that you have to disconnect, and you have to squeeze this tab and pull the connector out. Thank you, BMW. I really appreciate this. With all the connectors disconnected and bracket released, we can now finally get to this little tab here on the white connector that needs to be pressed, so we can push off the connector of the bracket and replace it with the new connector. And now we can finally get rid of the old sensor. And I already routed in the new sensor here, so we just need to snap it back onto the bracket. Okay, make sure that it clicks. And now we just have to put it back together. So we have to put the bracket back and reconnect all the connectors. Make sure that you put the right connectors back in. They are color coded, so the black connector goes to the black one. Here goes the white, and the blue connector goes to this blue connector here. Now we just have to insert the sensor. Make sure that this bulb here points towards the outside of the vehicle. And now we just have to press it in. And this should be good. And we just route the cable at the back and put it on the clips. And we're done with the sensor. Okay, we're now inside of the car, and we have to reset the warning for the brake pads. So let's press start stop button once so that the car comes to life, and we can see that we have a warning here, and the brakes are red. So now we press again, and we get the service warning on the dashboard. And now we have to wait until this warning goes away. There's also a warning on the screen. Okay, so now we can press the odometer reset button for 5 seconds. And we get the triangle, and now we are in the service menu. And we can see that the front brake pads are due to be replaced. So this is the warning. And we can scroll through the menu with the stock button. And we have different options for resetting the oil, brake fluid, and stuff like that. So we go back to the front pads, and then we press the stock button on the end once. So the menu goes into reset mode, and now we have to press it again and hold it for 3 seconds. There's an indication, and it's reset. And also here on the dashboard, you can see that everything is okay. I took the car for a test drive, and I made sure that the new brakes were pumped and that the road was clear. And then I decelerated from 50 kilometers an hour to dead stop, and I repeated that process for 5 times. So this mates the discs with the pads, and in the first 200 kilometers you should not abruptly brake at high speeds. So for example, if you're on the motorway, you shouldn't be going 200 kilometers an hour and then go full on the brakes. So you should definitely avoid that at first, but after 200 kilometers you should be good to go. So this is the conclusion of this video. Sometimes you think you know what you're doing, but you don't really know what you're doing. So this was the case with my overflowing brake fluid. But in any case, if you have any questions, put them below. Thanks for watching, keep zen and continue the art of BMW maintenance.